in the teacher mode right now, and I'm navigating to my assignment section. I've already created an assignment here, but what I'll do is start by creating an assignment. And like I said, all of these settings are normal Canvas settings, right? So I'll do a sample, argument essay. And underneath, you could say, please, cite 3 sources, whatever, MLA format, whatever point value. It connects to the grade book as well. And here is the submission type. And if you're following along with me, go ahead to select external tool. Typically, teachers have, another option. And now find, you could type Turnitin and then find, but more or less this opens your list. So they do have to scroll down kind of alphabetically. Those 2 scrolls kind of get confused, user design wise, that kind of annoys me. And click Turnitin and now select. Okay, so that is basically the most important part, to make sure teachers are aware that they have to choose external tool in order to access Turnitin. For viewing purposes, you may want to open up in a new tab. Sometimes it's easier to see the list of student results, up to your preferences. Now here, these are all your own settings, so up to them. And as far as due date goes, whatever you put here will correspond to Turnitin settings, and then just saving here. Okay. Well, just so that you know, the first time you do this, there will be a user agreement that pops up right here that says, do you, agree to, so students will have that, teachers will have that. And now, do you notice there's nothing here because I don't have any assignments yet. So this would be my inbox, and it's telling me, nothing's here. But there is a menu. I want to remind you, these 3 lines, if I zoom out a little bit, it would look like this. But if I'm zoomed up, I mentioned, opening up in a new tab, you might notice that it's hiding inside the menu. Okay, so we first set up the Canvas external tool settings. Now we are clicking on the Turnitin settings. So let me just kind of make it a little bit easier to read. All of this is fixed. I can't change the grade, the dates, we've already decided on that. But underneath, do you see optional settings?
Yes.
This is where I want to make sure, because you probably revisited these with Giselle, but now in Canvas they do look a little bit different, and the terminology is a little bit different. But the main idea is that teachers can choose whether or not allow late submissions, whether or not they allow resubmissions. So I'm going to be lenient and say yes, they get a few chances to do that. Any filters, so last time you probably talked about how it's going to show up, maybe the student has done everything right, they quoted correctly, but maybe you don't want that quote to show up as part of the match. So this is one way to filter out the noise, so the number is not as inflated. So they set it and can forget, just like the infomercial, set it and forget it. And this one also, I recommend allow students to view originality reports, meaning I want this to be hopefully a teachable moment where they can see the matches, actionable, they can do something about it, fix their mistakes for next time. But it's up to the teacher. They could also say no, for my eyes only, that's just fine. Okay, so these are teacher level settings. For example, a phrase, a very common phrase might be like, according to this article. Those are 4 words that are just a common phrase. A science one, I know we were talking about entering the Earth's atmosphere. That's not plagiarism, it's just a short phrase. So you could set a minimum, 8 to 10 might be a good starting point, so that it's only matching 10 words or more, a more significant chunk. Okay, next up, some of the more complex, I mentioned peer review. So you could have the student not only upload, a research paper, argumentative paper, but also a part 2 would be a peer review of that same assignment. So it would automatically shuffle out those assignments, redistribute them. You could, if the teacher wanted to pair up certain students, anonymously, whatever. So that adds sort of part two to an assignment. Now, if a teacher is not ready, they don't want to, they would just not have one. But it is, like I said, another very valuable tool, especially for those other departments who may not necessarily just want plagiarism, but want peer review too.
Mm-hmm.
So you could select yes for training purposes. We'll just select that. Now, rubrics, you can see from our drop-down menu, they're here to choose from, or right now you could launch into the rubric manager. So that opens up the kind of ability for teachers to create their own, maybe adjust one of the rubrics that we have here. So they could play with these different tools. This is what you use for plagiarism, so turn this on when you need that piece. So for now, I'll just say no rubric. Now, grammar checking, I'll go ahead and enable yes. I think that is a easy, everybody wants to turn that one on to help scan. And notice it's going to be for high school. If you have AP students, you might consider advanced. Notice you've got different options, English language learners, and checking off all of those. Finally, save those as defaults. So while admins can't set those defaults, at least teachers can set it once. So